what happens in Zoro's backstory. So Zoro, our main swordsman on the pirate crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goes to his backstory. He's a tiny little child, probably like 10 years old, right? And he's a whiny little baby. He's a whiny little baby all day long. He keeps losing to this girl who's a better swordsman than him. They're in their swordsman dojo, right? And she beats him 2,000 times in a row. Zoro can't stand it. Zoro's being a whiny little baby about it. He just cannot beat her. He goes to the sensei, who, Kuina, I think that's how, I don't know how to say her name. Kuina? Kuna?
The sensei?
No, the girl that keeps beating him. Kuina. I'm going to say Kuina, even though I'm probably making a fool of myself.
Sure, why not?
She is the sensei's daughter. And Zoro's like, yo, sensei, what up? What are you teaching her that you ain't teaching the rest of us? And the sensei's like, I ain't doing that. I'm teaching you all the same things. She's just real powerful. But don't worry, she's a girl, so you're going to beat her eventually. And so then Zoro's like, I'm going to beat her right now. So he goes and he goes and gets 2 swords, and he says, we're going to fight with real swords this time, Kuina. And she says, okay. And then she beats the crap out of him and stabs next to his head and says, I would have killed you if this was a real sword fight, and I just beat you 2,001 times. Zoro's like, why can't I beat you? He gets all cryy. He remains a whiny little baby. Kuina gets a little heart-to-heart. She says, don't worry. My father says that women can't become swordsmasters, and that eventually you're just going to surpass me anyway because you're a man, and you're going to get that testosterone in your veins. You're going to get stronger than me, and I'm not going to stand a chance. And Zoro looks at her and he says, you shut up, that's not true. He says, you need to follow your dreams. You want to be the greatest swordsman in the world, and I want to be the greatest swordsman in the world. So why don't we become the 2 greatest swordsmen in the world? We will fight, and then we will see who became the greatest swordsman. So their goal is to become the 2 greatest swordsmen in the world, then fight to see who is the greatest. And she says, that's a deal. Well, long story short, she falls downstairs the very next day and dies. Zoro's pretty distraught about it. Humans are fragile people. That's what we learn here. He takes her sword. Well, he doesn't take it. The sensei gives him the sword, and that is when he evolves from the 2-sword style to the 3-sword style. Because her sword is now the one that, I don't know, goes in his mouth probably because he had his hands. So there you go. So that's how Zoro got his 3-sword style. That's what happened in Zoro's backstory. That's how Kuina died. She fell down fucking stairs.
Yeah.
This is immediately after Zoro and Mihawk had their fight. Zoro lost, set off sail with Usopp to chase after Nami. Right? So where I left is pretty much just Luffy and Sanji, as well as the cooks from the boat, are all here fighting Krieg and his army of pirates. Crew of pirates. I guess this is kind of an army. He had 1,000 at one point, but he doesn't anymore, so it doesn't matter. All right, so. Oh, God. Okay. Let's go over. Now I'm having trouble even remembering what the hell happens. Okay. Krieg comes up with this cunning plan, right? He comes up with a cunning plan. He says, we're not going to destroy the restaurant ship. We're going to take it. We're just going to take the restaurant ship, and then we're going to sail it around, and we're going to go up to boats, and they're going to think we're a restaurant, and then we'll jump them, and we'll take all their shit, and we'll kill them, and then we'll get back in the restaurant, and I guess we'll go do it again. That's his plan, right? Yeah. And so, while that plan is going on, lo and behold, who should show up but a man covered in shields? Yes, he has a shield on his chest, on his back, on his elbows, on his wrists, and he is called the Invincible Pearl. And he is a man who has never lost and never bled. He's never lost a battle, and he's never bled, and he's very cocky about that.
He's never lost any of his 61 battles.
61 battles specifically. Thank you, because I actually did not have that noted. So 61 battles, he's never lost, and he's never bled. And so Sanji doesn't give a fuck, because Pearl just started beating the crap out of his cooks. And so Sanji starts beating the crap out of his crew, and then him and Invincible Pearl get into this tussle, right? This shield man, Sanji starts kicking him. They start beating the crap out of each other. Well, Sanji gets a good kick to the face. A nice solid kick to the face, which gives Pearl a nosebleed. Now, he's a man who's never bled before. So, his pirate crew, Krieg's pirate crew, start freaking out. They're like, oh my god, Pearl's bleeding. Pearl, calm down. And he starts freaking out. And what does that man do? He lights himself on fire. Not in like a suicidal way. It's like a cool way. It's like he's fine.
Cool way.
He's perfectly fine. He's a man covered in shields who has lit himself on fire, and then he makes a wall of fire around him, and Sanji says, I don't give a fuck about that wall of fire. Kicks through the wall of fire. He says, I'm a cook. If you're afraid of the fire, stay out of the kitchen, or something like that, you know. Along those lines. Krieg says, this is getting a little iffy, so I'm going to send a spiky ball at Sanji. So Krieg off on the sidelines there fires a spiky ball at Sanji. And Luffy says, oh, no. This is a one-on-one fight over here, my guy. I ain't letting you interfere. And he gomu no spiky balls that shit right back at him. All right. Sanji beats the crap out of Pearl, essentially. He wins this fight as well. And then Jin, who is, in case you forgot who Jin was, he's the second-hand man to Krieg. He's his first mate. Sanji fed him when he was starving to death, when nobody else would feed him on the ship. And so he is very grateful to Sanji. But now, Jin comes out. He kicks Red Boots. What's his name? The old man with the big hat. Zeph. Yes. He kicks him in his peg leg. He falls to the ground, and then he holds a gun to his head, and he says, Sanji, I'm gonna kill him. And Sanji says, don't you dare. You point that gun at me instead. Well, Pearl's not actually dead. Red Leg Zeph, that's the one. Pearl's not actually dead. Pearl stands up and smashes Sanji's face. Smashes his head, like, just right in, like a freaking pancake. Right?
Yep.
Which is where this ends. We then go into Sanji flashback, which is the next phase. 9 years ago.
Off to a bad start.
Why? It was 9 years ago.
9 years ago. Pause for 10 seconds.
Well, you were talking, so I didn't know. I wanted to give you time to speak your mind. 9 years ago, cut to little child Sanji, who, by the way, since we're here, is 10 in this, which means he's 19 in current day. Same age as Zoro, Luffy, Usopp, 17, Nami, 18. Just keeping track of all the ages here. I looked it up. I got it. Sanji's a little shit. He's a little ungrateful piece of crap. All right. He's hanging out with all these cooks on a ship. He's an apprentice cook, and they're all eating off dirty plates and not letting any food go to waste. And Sanji says, "What are you doing? That stuff looks disgusting. I throw out food just because it looks bad." And they're like, "Sanji, you can't do that. You gotta eat the food." Yes, exactly. You can't let food go to waste, Sanji, but he's just a child, an ungrateful little child. So anyway, Sanji starts talking about his dream to go to the All Blue. Do you know what the All Blue is? Do they explain it?
They do. Yes, they do explain the All Blue.
Can you explain?
Yes. So in the world of One Piece, every sea has its own unique bioculture, like, unique fish and shit. The All Blue is this mystical land, mystical sea place where all the fish of all the seas exist in one spot. And so it's a cook's dream because they can prepare any type of fish.
That's it. That's the All Blue. It's where all the seas connect and all the fish just apparently flow in there. They love it, man. They absolutely love it. So Sanji wants to cook up. If you
prepare food, you love this place.
Who wouldn't? What cook wouldn't? It's a cook. Mamma mia! You can cook a buffet of all the different kinds of fish. Who knows? So Sanji wants to get to the All Blue, and all the cooks kind of laugh, and they're like, "You'll never get to the All Blue. It doesn't exist." Blah blah blah. Things like that. Anyway, pirates attack. Yes, they do. And who should attack? None other than Red Leg Zeph. In the flesh, younger, 9 years younger, bolder, just back from the Grand Line, which he spent a year out on. He's back and he says, give me all your gold, give me all your stuff, but don't give me your food because that's yours and I'm a humble man, or something like that.
Wait, does he really say that?
No, but it's something like that. The point I'm trying to make is he was like very, they made a point that Zeph was like, don't take their food. Take anything you want, but don't take their food. Leave the food for them. Don't let them starve or whatever. I don't know. It was like, that was just a point they made. And so Sanji is like, I ain't gonna go down here. I'm gonna fight these pirates. I'm gonna murder them all before they can murder me. And so he goes at him with a knife and quickly loses, gets the crap beat out of him. Zeph had no problems whatsoever. And Sanji's like, I can't die here. I need to get to the All Blue. And then all the pirates start laughing at him because the All Blue doesn't exist or whatever. Anyway, a storm whips up, flings Sanji off the edge of the ship, and Zeph is like, he's gonna die. I gotta save him. And so the random pirate that just showed up dives into the ocean after random child who he'd never met, and they wash up on this giant plateau in the middle of the ocean, and the sun's bearing down on them, and they're dying and having a miserable time. Anyway, some food luckily washed up with them. And so Zeph sets it up. He gives a big bag to him, small bag to Sanji, says, Sanji, you're a child, you don't eat as much as me, so you take the little bag of food. Go over there, look for ships, and shut up. And so Sanji goes to the other side of the island, and Zeph, they're facing two different directions so they could see all the ships, right? And so Sanji's like, I got enough if I were to eat normally for 5 days of food. But I won't eat normally, I'll ration it so it lasts a little bit longer. Cut to day 25. Sanji has run out of food completely. He's eating the last piece of moldy bread. Day 25, they've been stuck on this plateau, dying. Cut to Zeph, who is like, I don't want to die here. And then he takes a rock and starts chopping at his foot. Just starts smashing his foot repeatedly with a rock. Why do you look so concerned?
That did not happen in the show.
That 100% happened in the show.
No, it didn't.
Did it happen, but not like that?
He did not smash his foot with a rock.
It had to have happened. And we'll get into it. He smashes his foot repeatedly and blood sprays everywhere. And you're like, why is he doing this? And then it switches back to Sanji and you never find out. Day 50, it rains. So they get a little bit of water. He's been 25 days without food, but hey, you get a little bit of water. Day 70, they're like skin and bones at this point. Sanji's looking real bad. He's dying. He's having a hard time. He's out of food. He's thirsty. And he's going a little bit stir crazy, He's like, I'm going to go over and I'm going to see how much food, if Zeph has any food left. He goes over there and sees the huge bag of food, untouched, unopened. And somehow Sanji got a knife. I don't know how, but he had a knife. And he goes up to Zeph and he says, give me that food or I'm going to kill you. And Zeph says, go ahead, take the food. And so Sanji cuts open the bag, and what comes out but a whole bunch of treasure, a whole bunch of gold and money, and no food in sight. And he turns to Zeph and he says, you haven't had any food this whole time? And Zeph says, no, I had to cut off my own foot and eat it. And so Sanji says, why'd you do that? You're Red Shoes Zeph. I'm just a child who tried to kill you. And he turns to Sanji and he says, because your dream is to get to the All Blue. And then they all cry. And then another 15 days go by, and it's been 85 days on the plateau, and a ship finally shows up, and they're saved. And then cut back to Sanji in current day, and he says, and that's why I gotta protect Zeph in this boat, because he protected me, or I don't know, fucking something like that. The end. So we're back in the modern age, right?
Yes.
We're back in the modern age. Sanji has declared why he will protect Zeph. Luffy comes up with his own cunning plan. Luffy says, I'm going to destroy the ship. because if I destroy the ship, then Krieg doesn't have a prize, so might as well just destroy the ship. To which Sanji says, hell no, I will die before you destroy this ship. To which Luffy replies, how you gonna repay the old man if you're dead? And Sanji doesn't quite know how to respond to that one. Cut to Jin, who is no longer holding a gun to Zeph's head, but is instead smashing Invincible Pearl with his twirly doos. So I don't know what the hell kind of weapon he uses. It's like a mace, kinda. Do you know what it is?
No, they're cool though.
They're cool. They are. They're pretty badass. He like flips them around. I'm gonna call them twirly doodles. So he hits Invincible Pearl with the twirly doodles, which smashes Invincible Pearl, which is his crewmate, by the way. Invincible Pearl's second in command, Jin is the first mate. I'm pretty sure Jin's the first mate. And I think Invincible Pearl is like the second mate, whatever that would be, right? To Krieg. Krieg's like, why are you attacking your own people, Jin? I don't much like that. And Jin's like, it's because I want to kill Sanji. I don't want to let this guy kill Sanji, so I'm going to kill him instead.
So obviously, the proper course of action is to kill my crewmate so I can do it.
Exactly.
Not just like, yo, hold on, I got this.
Yeah, no, he smashed him. There might have been more, but regardless, he smashed him open. Invincible Pearl's out of the fight. Krieg says, I don't much like that. I'm going to shoot a poisonous bomb at all of you. And so then they're all freaking out because they're like, well, we're going to die from the poison. And so Krieg fires off a poisonous bomb. Luffy goes to kick the poisonous bomb back, but it turns out it was a fluke. He duped them all. The poisonous bomb wasn't a poisonous bomb at all. It explodes into shurikens, which just start stabbing into Luffy everywhere. And he says, ha ha ha, I wouldn't waste a poison bomb on you idiots. I can kill you without it. And so they're all relieved that it's not a poisonous bomb, but Luffy did get stabbed with a bunch of shurikens. Anyway, Sanji and Jin start fighting. They start beating the crap out of each other. Meanwhile, all hell's breaking loose. Luffy is like, I don't like you much, Krieg, and they start fighting. So we got two fights going on hand in hand. Krieg starts firing wooden stakes at Luffy. Luffy's dodging these wooden stakes because they're pointy. They'll stab right through his rubber, you know? He can't deflect those wooden stakes back. Jin ends up beating Sanji. Jin actually wins the fight. And, mind you, Sanji just fought Invincible Pearl and got his head smashed in, so he was pretty weak. But Jin ends up winning the fight and has Sanji on the ground, and Krieg's like, kill Sanji now. And Jin says, I can't do it. He says, I can't do it, Krieg. He saved me. He saved my life. I can't kill him. I cannot do it. I simply cannot do it. To which Krieg says, I don't much like that, and fires a poison bomb at them. For real this time. And he tells Jin to drop his gas mask, because I guess Krieg uses poison so much they all just have gas masks on him. Jin throws his gas mask at Luffy, because the poison bomb's going to hit Luffy, it's going to hit Sanji, and it's going to hit Jin. And then he, closes Sanji's mouth with his hands and covers his face so he can't breathe it in. And then Jin breathes in the poison and starts spitting up blood, and he's dying from the poison. I don't quite know how the semantics of him closing Sanji's mouth would work. But Sanji's fine. Luffy's fine because he had a gas mask. Jin is dying. That, in turn, pisses Luffy off a little bit. Or something, I don't know. The moral of the story is Luffy starts fighting Krieg for real this time. Krieg starts firing wooden stakes at him still. And Luffy's like, you know what, I just don't give a fuck. And just starts running through the wooden stakes. So he's getting stabbed with wooden stakes. Krieg's like, that's pretty cool, but also you still can't beat me. So Luffy starts winding up a punch. One of his Gomu Gomu no pistol or bullet or some shit. Krieg.
Gomu some shit.
Gomu Gomu no some shit. Krieg takes a cape and twirls it around him, and it's a spiky cape. It's a spiky cape of metal with spikes jabbing out of it, and he says, you can't punch me when I'm covered in spikes. And Luffy says, the fuck I can't, and then punches him anyway, straight through the spikes, doesn't give a shit, right in the face. Krieg goes down, Luffy's ecstatic, but Krieg's not done yet, and shield punches Luffy or some shit, and Luffy's like, oh, that really hurts. Luffy gets pissed, retaliates again, Trying to remember. That's where I'm at. I'm trying to remember. This was a long one. Luffy retaliates again, beats the crap out of Krieg. Krieg comes back with a lance that can explode. But Luffy doesn't know it can explode. So he starts stabbing at Luffy with the lance. Luffy's like, ho, ha, he's dodging left and right. But then Krieg makes the lance blow up. Ugh, Luffy falls to the ground crispy. And like his mouth is smoking, and everybody's like, "Oh no, Luffy!" Luffy doesn't care. He gets back up anyway. He gives Krieg one last final punch into the ship, and Krieg goes down. Blood sprays out of his mouth. Luffy's the victor, but he's not really. Krieg lands him. He gets a net around Luffy, and he says, "I'm just gonna throw you into the ocean because you are a rubber man and you will die." And Luffy says, "I don't much want that to happen." And he grabs onto the net, and then like twists the top half of his body. But the bottom half remains, so he's like a corkscrew, kind of. He's getting real twisty in the middle, right? And so he twists it all around, and then eventually, I think how it works, it's hard to tell in the manga. The net is still connected to Krieg's hand, right? Yeah. And so eventually he twists so much that it starts twisting into Krieg's hand, and then Krieg starts twisting, and then Luffy's like, "Take this, bitch!" And then Krieg flies in the air like a million times, like a tornado, Gomu Gomu tornado, and then smashes him back into the ship. Luffy's the winner. Luffy's the victor. Krieg's down for the count. The end of Krieg 3.
Yeah.
Am I saving time doing this?
I don't know.
It was a lot shorter in my head.